Hi, Goddess of Awesome here, and I am still on day 5 of my big long journey, and I wanted to just touch in really quick and give you an after client some feedback. So this particular client who just came to see me, I was actually the very first person he ever saw for essential massage. So really cool, just rocked somebody's world for the first time ever, and lucky him, right? I operate out of a lot of integrity, and I give a high quality session. I give the kind of session that if I were laying on the table, that's what I would want to receive, that's what I give. I give what I would want to receive. So a lot of heart in my hands, a lot of high quality, and how lucky for him that his first sample of sensual massage was with me. I definitely feel like we set the bar. If he ever has another one, he'll have this to compare it to, and he at least had a positive experience the first time. So what a lucky guy. He mentioned something that I thought was worth speaking about. And we were talking about being comfortable in your own skin. Okay, sometimes when I see clients, we just have great conversations. Sometimes they don't talk at all, and sometimes they do. So this one in particular, I was speaking to him about being a nudist and what it was like hanging out with people who don't have any clothes on, when they're swimming in public. Now some of you might be going, wah, 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 your brain, like what, swimming in public with no clothes? Where does this happen at, Northern California is definitely a place where some areas are a little more earthy. I would say earthy. A little more earthy than others, and anyways, so I was speaking about, telling this client about, hiking naked in the woods, naked with friends. I'll have to do a nudist video. Maybe I'll do that one next. But he mentioned something that I thought was worthwhile to mention to you. So, nudists, we just enjoy not feeling restraint from clothes. We just want to be natural and free. It's not a sexual thing for nudists. A true nudist is not running around with no clothes because they're an exhibitionist, right? An exhibitionist is someone who gets off on being publicly exposed, right? They want to expose themselves in public some way or another, and that attention, that shock value attention that happens when they do that, feeds them, gives them something that their spirit requires or needs or thirsts for, and that is what I would consider an exhibitionist, right? Someone who does it for shock value, and they feed off of the response. Some part of them feeds off of the energy they get when people are shocked about whatever it is they're doing, streaking, or you name it. There's lots of different ways, having sex in public. There's lots of different ways you can be an exhibitionist and get a thrill out of it. So I just want to say that nudists, in general, we're not seeking thrills. We're not seeking thrills like that. We're not seeking sexual titillation of the mind from removing our clothes and coexisting with others with no clothes on. Being a nudist is about as close to the earth as you can be, probably. I don't know what Adam and Eve wore, but I'm gonna say they probably arrived in their birthday suit. There's nothing wrong with your birthday suit. Your birthday suit is fabulous. And my message for this video is, I guess, I just want to help people feel comfortable in their own skin. And some of you may wonder, oh my gosh, sensual massage, it's all okay except you don't have any clothes on, Well, you can definitely do a sensual massage therapy session clothed. I'm sure some do. I'm sure there are some providers out there who don't disrobe all the way. But I am a nudist and I'm very comfortable in my own skin. I have no shame on my body. I don't feel shameful for my body. You know, if someone has something that sprouts in them because they looked at my body, that wasn't my body sprouting something in them. That was whatever was in them had an opportunity to sprout as a reaction. You know, but my body didn't make that happen. That was already in them, you know. So getting back to this client really quick, and I'll try to wrap this up. I don't know how much room I have on this disc. But so he had expressed interest in being a nudist himself and thought that that culture or that lifestyle is very interesting. And I guess up this way, not far, a ways away, but not too far, is some kind of colony, a nudist colony of some sort. And he said he went and checked it out, which is so brave of him. And as a man, you know, it's hard to hide feelings, or it's hard to hide your reactions sometimes, your physical reactions. Girls, you can't tell just to look at us, you know. But he told me that, you know, he had some concern. There was a fear of his that if he joined, you know, went out into this setting of people cohabitating, enjoying themselves, maybe at a river or a hot spring. I don't know the exact scenario, if it was a river or a hot spring or what it was. But he said he was scared that he would get aroused and he would have a hard-on, you know. Which I totally understand. That's probably a lot of guys' concern, for sure, if they're going to be a nudist, hanging out in a co-ed situation. So he told me that this is kind of warming to my heart, because he's such a true nudist. A true nudist would get there as fast as this guy did. So he joined, you know, he was disrobed and he joined the people. And, you know, he said he was concerned that he might be aroused, that he might get stiff, you know, down there, and that they would show and people would see. And he said that it was only the first 5 minutes, like that first initial, you know, acquainting yourself with the group kind of thing, where obviously there's tons of, you know, I'm sure he saw a lot of nipple action, bums, fur patches. Maybe some people didn't have fur. I think a lot of nudists have fur, but they can have no fur too, of course. But it's more these days. Our world's becoming, you know, hair phobic. But I think a lot of nudists wear fur. So, anyways, this guy did not have any fur. The one I'm talking to you about, the new nudist, and he loved my fur patch. I wear fur. He loved it. So ironic, right? He had not a speck of fur down there, not even one morsel. I mean, he was like baby butt, just smooth as can be. And one of the first things he said to me was, I like that you're not trimmed down there. You know, it's unusual. So, getting back to the nudist story. Yeah, he said that he was surprised that, you know, that fear of his only really lasted for about 5 minutes. And after the first 5 minutes or so, you know, his energy field acquainted with the vibe of the group, and he didn't have that issue anymore, right? It was just now about freedom and being carefree, and he wasn't worried that he would have a moment of being sexually aroused, because, you know, it diffused in him. You see, because most nudist groups, and not that there's tons of groups out there, but if you interject yourself into an environment where there's nudists, you know, it might look like a group of people, right? If it's alongside a river, it could be lots of different groups of people. So nudists aren't running around with no clothes on to turn people on. Okay? I just want to get clear with that. Nudists aren't trying to arouse people by not wearing clothes. They're just being carefree. They're just being simple. They're just being natural. It has nothing to do with, let's take this somewhere. This needs to create energy. It has no intention on creating any energy. It's a very placid and very still, almost presence of being. When you're a nudist and you're with true nudists, in the company of true nudists, it's just harmonious, peaceful, you know? There's no tension. So that's what I wanted to say on nudity and being comfortable in your own skin. And there's a lot more to say on this subject. I mean, real quick, I'm just going to say that, you know, some people, you know, the swinger lifestyle is kind of prevalent, you know, and I'm not for or against it, right? I'm not a swinger. I don't think it's bad that people are swingers. It doesn't challenge anything in me. It doesn't challenge who I am, doesn't challenge my sexuality, doesn't challenge my way of life, doesn't challenge my state of being, you know. So, you know, swingers, I'm cool with them. Like, I'm not a swinger, but I'm not going to judge somebody who is, you know, and I'm not going to not be your friend, you know. If you're a swinger, I don't care. I'll still be your friend. I have friends who are swingers, you know. But being a nudist doesn't equate to being a swinger. Just because you're a nudist doesn't mean you're a swinger. Just because you're a nudist, that doesn't mean you're an exhibitionist. You know, there could be some nudists out there who might be exhibitionists. There could be some swingers out there who might be exhibitionists. There might be exhibitionists out there who aren't swingers at all, you know? I mean, you don't never know what the driving force in people are sometimes. But I just want to clarify, you know, nudity gets so meshed with things. And I want to say that when I am not wearing clothes, you know, like the lower half of me isn't not wearing clothes right now, but you would never know until I just told you. You didn't know all this time. Like, I'm comfortable not being, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm comfortable just being me. And sometimes when I have to put too much clothes on, it's very constricting. And it's stifling. And it's just too much, you know? So here's an area where less is more. Sometimes it's nice not to have to put your clothes on, you know? Sometimes it's nice to just exist a whole day with no clothes. I don't know, have any of you ever tried that? I mean, have you ever existed in a whole day with not wearing clothes and go somewhere? Oh my God, quick story, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I have to do another nudist video for you. But, okay, when I had first become a nudist, it took a long time to get me there. I was hanging out with naked kids for over a year, and I was the only clothed person. Right? All these people, my friends from high school, they're all swimming in the rivers naked, and they're going into hot springs with no clothes on, and I'm from LA. We don't do that. I was raised way different than that, and take your clothes off in front of other people, it just seemed like the hardest thing in the world to do. Well, when I finally got to the point where I was a liberated soul, and some shame had come on, you know, some shame had been released, and I was able to finally take my dress off and jump into the hot spring with my friends, which none of them looked at me any more or less than they ever did before. It was like I had my clothes on still. I had my clothes on still, you know? So, I don't know why this keeps falling. So, one day, and we used to hike naked too. We used to hike naked. And we would ditch our clothes, right? We'd go so far up the trail, we'd ditch our clothes. And then, you know, it would have made it so much easier because then we could jump in the river. We could hike up the river, actually. And there were spots that we'd climb along the rock, and then we'd jump back in and swim when there were places we had to swim. So it was very advantageous not to have clothes to go hiking like that. But here's the story I want to tell you, and then I'm going to wrap up this video. One time when I was 18, we were at the hot springs, and we had gone hiking naked. And it was me and two girlfriends. Renee Love, I adore you. You are the dearest, kindest, and helped me heal so much. I have to have to do a video on you, just you, because you're just remarkable in my life path. But, so I'm with Renee Love, and I'm with our best friend, Marty, and at the time we called her Zoe. So I'm with Zoe and Renee Love, and and we're hiking naked, and we just had such a damn good day, you know. So fun. We're all 18 years old, carefree. And we're walking back to the car, you know. It's a 2-hour drive to get home. We're really up high in the mountains of Northern California. So we decide that we are not going to put our clothes on. We just decided to be rebellious, and we're not going to get dressed. And we drove home. We hopped in her car. I think she had a Buick. We hopped in the car, no clothes on. So there's 3 18-year-old girls, absolutely no clothes on, and we decided to hit it home. Now, she lived down this path. She was the last house on the street, on her in her neighborhood, and she was in the mountain. You know, we're all in the mountains at this point. So if we got to her house and her driveway, nobody would see us get out of the car naked, because we're in the woods, you know. So ideally, no one would have ever saw us if we just got in the car and drove home for 2 hours and got to her house. Well, along the way of getting home, they were doing road construction, and the traffic slowed down very much, and you know, those things that they use to tear up the road and stuff and build things, I mean, they're tall, right? They're high, and if you're sitting in one, you could really look down. So, you know how they make you stop. Sometimes they have to hold traffic so the next way can go. So we're stopped, and these machines are going by, and no doubt, I'm sure, a couple of those workers seen us. You know, he probably seen our little 18-year-old tops, you know, not covered. And all we could do in the car was to giggle, right? We could just giggle. We weren't trying to stir anything up, but the idea that now we're caught in traffic, and oh my God, you know, people might be able to see us, and we don't, you know, what should we do? All we could do is laugh. Now, was that being exhibitionist in that moment? I don't know, maybe a touch, but I don't think we were trying for that. We didn't try, you know, we stumbled upon it. We just thought we could just get in the car and ride home naked and not have it be a big deal. We had gas, we didn't have to stop for gas, you know, like, and then we'd cruise down the road and get to her house, and we'd jump out of the car and nobody would see us. We're in the woods, you know, but we got caught coming into town in that traffic, and we passed by those workers, and all we could do is giggle and laugh. I think that's something I know I'll never forget, you know, and maybe that's still in Renee Love's and Zoe's mind, that we had that experience together. But that was kind of fun. I don't know, I was kind of living on the wild side as a teenager, very innocent, right? We weren't hurting anybody. We weren't exposing ourselves to people. We just went for a 2-hour car ride with no clothes on, after we hiked all day with no clothes on. It was a completely naked day, you know. I'm sure we got to her house, and we probably made dinner with no clothes on. We probably didn't put clothes on until it was time, you know. We probably never put clothes on that day, you know, if I think straight about it, because I know I don't sleep in clothes, so wouldn't be putting clothes on at the end of the day after all that. So anyways, I know it's a little off topic from what I was talking about before, you know, working with the client, but I was really impressed that he found the space that a true nudist has, which is reverence, right? There's a lot of reverence for sexuality, and we don't need to push our energy on others. We're not trying to be exhibitionists. You know, it's a very respectful thing. You know, it's a human graciousness, a human, really, you can accept your fellow humans. I mean, how much more can you level the playing field than to interact with one another with no clothes on, you know? It takes all the barriers away, sort of. I mean, you're just so vulnerable, you know? And vulnerable is not necessarily a bad thing, right? We grow when we're vulnerable. You know, we can shift, and magic can happen in our lives when we're vulnerable. So So that's that, a little tidbit on nudity. I'm gonna have to do a real nudity video for you, my whole, like, how I really became, like, the whole, all the details, because it's kind of interesting, I think. So anyways, that's all. So I'm the Goddess of Awesome. This is day 5 of my epic last journey, and I will have more for you again soon. Thank you so much. Bright blessings and be well.